One question I asked myself with all the moves the Vikings made in the offseason, including picking up offensive linemen, can a low round rookie make the team? I'm going to talk about that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome to Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, David Shelsky. You can follow me on Twitter at SkullWorld and at MN Sports Podcast. If you could, stop what you're doing, go down there and click like, click subscribe, heck, even ring the bell. This will help me keep more Minnesota Sports Talk on the interwebs. Thank you, and let's get started. The man I'm talking about is tackle out of Illinois, number 84 overall, Vederian Lowe. Now, I really want to get into this guy. I think there was a need for offensive line depth. We helped out doing that in the in the guard position, but did we really help out the tackle position? Now, if Darisaw got hurt, Oliudo goes to the outside. We didn't have much going there. Unfortunately, Oliudo had a bad year. So that led us to what's going to happen if either O'Neal or Darisaw get hurt. Can we adjust? Would we move a Cleveland back out to tackle and leave a gap again at the offensive guard position? So what could we possibly do? Well, the Vikings, in their vision, said we weren't good enough at offensive tackle. We need to add more depth, and they selected Vederian Lowe. Now, one of the good stories of this draft is Vederian Lowe. He lived with his mother and grandmother, and his mother died. And unfortunately, I think when he was 12 years old, he ended up trying to take care of his grandmother. He eventually, got to college. Illinois, played left tackle for him. He got married. He had 2 kids. He's got a son that's almost 1, another one that's almost 3, which was reported. And then he also got legal guardianship over his 14, he may be 14 or 15-year-old brother. And when he's interviewed, you can just see the maturity, and he says this matured him faster than probably most people on this earth. Is that he's thinking of it, how to feed his family, how to raise his brother right, and he gets drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and he's going to take that into camp, knowing that he has more people that depend on him than most other rookies. And you can see that in the conversations he has. Now, why did he fall the 6th round? Why wasn't he one of the bigger, tackle prospects? Well, one of the things is this was a pretty deep tackle draft. But let me talk about his measurables. His height is 6'5", pretty good for a tackle, right? Weight 314, also very good. This is where he sets himself apart. He has 35 and 3/8 inch arms. And he has 10 and 3/8 inch hands. Now, we just recently drafted Christian Darisaw. And his height, 6'4", so he's an inch shorter. His weight, 314, same. Arms, 34 and a quarter, which are long. And he was said to have long arms. But that's 1 inch, over 1 inch shorter. 1 inch shorter than Christian Darisaw. 10 and 3/8 hands. Christian Darisaw had 9 and a quarter. So his hands are even an inch longer than Christian Darisaw's. So that's honestly amazing. Now, he had ESPN graded him, or the NFL Network on his bio graded them a separation of like a half point, which honestly is not that big of a gap considering Darisaw was ranked in the first round, and Vederian Lowe was drafted in the 6th round. So it is my impression that Vederian Lowe had potential to go a lot higher than he did. So I don't think he's your normal 6th round pick. Now you could say this that I've said this about a few other people, and I have. I said that I said Andrew Booth Jr. was drafted lower than he was, should have been drafted higher. I said that about Ty Chandler, and just because the undervalue of the position at running back, he drafted in the 5th round. And then said that about a Jalen Naylor, and I considered him biggest, the biggest value in this draft at wide receiver. Well, I'm going to tell you that we got a guy here that's going to go to camp and compete because he has pretty good measurables, physical size wise. Now his 40-yard dash is 5:22. He wasn't one of the faster linemen in the draft. Vertical jump 25 and a half. That is better than some. So for a guy his size, broad jump 99. So these are explosion type of numbers, and you don't see that great of explosion numbers when when you're this big and you're offensive tackle. 3 cone drill 7.83, 20-yard shuttle 4.71. So all these speed drills he was not the greatest at. Nothing that stands out. Now here's player bio. Lowe has started for the Illini at left tackle since his true freshman year, when he began 7 of 8 contests he played. He suited up for all 12 games in 2018 and all 13 in 2019 before garnering honorable mention All Big Ten Conference honors for his play in 2020, 8 starts, and in 2021, 12 starts. He set a school record with 52 career starts. Lowe is married to Haley and has 2 sons, Kingston Lowe, born 2019, and Trey Carter Lowe, born 2021. Lowe gained legal guardianship of his 14-year-old brother, Vidalius Cockrell, in 2021, and this was reported by Chad Reuters. Now, there's an overview. Now, this is where I like to do this. I read his draft profile and react based on what I've seen on video of this guy. So, this is real-time reaction of me reading his draft profile for the first time. I've waited. I haven't looked at it for the first time, and we'll go through it together. His overview by Lance Zierlein. They projected him at round 5, so automatically we got him around later than even the NFL analysts may have picked him. So already there's a little bit of value. Offensive line prospects who checks multiple boxes in both the traits and intangible categories. Evaluators are sure to love Lowe's personal character as well as his measurables. He's big, strong, and long, but needs to play with better hand accuracy and technique to fully unlock those traits. Bend and athleticism are both strengths for Lowe, who is scheme-independent talent. He's allowed too many pressures and sacks during his career, but has the tools for rapid improvement. With a few coaching fixes, Lowe is worthy of a middle round consideration as swing tackle with guard potential. I don't know how much I agree with this write-up. I too agree that his hand placement isn't the best, but he is long. He gets to the body first. That is coachable. What's not coachable is arm length. So he has the physical traits, over inch longer arms than our 1st-round pick last year, Darisaw, and he can get to that first. So his hand placement I've seen has been to the outside a little bit. Now he needs to improve on that, but he mirrors well as a left tackle. So I think he could play left tackle, he could play right tackle, and that's why in the write-up they say swing tackle, and I completely agree with that. Now, I'm going to say it right now, looking at the depth chart, this means to me that we have a guy that plays Austin Schlottman, that plays center and guard. So that's going to be a guy that might make the team because he plays both center and guard. So he has a little bit of advantage there. Now, because of the fact we got Jesse Davis and Chris Reed, who I've predicted is going to win that job, and I'm going to do a offensive line depth chart. Who's going to win the jobs, but I'm a little teaser here. I have predicted in my live broadcast with RAP from Purple Pocket Podcast that Oli Udo gets cut, does not make the team, and it has a lot to do with Vederian Lowe making the team as our swing tackle. I just think I trust in his physical traits, his athletic ability, and the fact that he's hungry. And he's going to come in here to camp and win that job. And I think he's got NFL starter potential. Maybe not with the Vikings because we got bookend tackles at the moment. But he's going to prove his worth. I do not think he can move into guard. I just don't think so. But I think he's a swing tackle. His strengths that he reported, he's big, strong, and durable. Praise for character, maturity, and leadership. Both of these I agree with wholeheartedly. I've never been so agreeable to the write-up of NFL Network. Bendy with adequate lateral quickness. I did say he mirrors well. Adequate, I could agree with that. Makes athletic adjustments on the move. Don't see much of that, but he does get up the field when he's needed to. You would see Darisaw, Virginia Tech, pull as a left tackle all the way to the right tackle, and they do it a read option, and the quarterback would follow Darisaw's kick out block. So Darisaw was used a lot differently, and I think is more athletic than a Vederian Lowe, and that's where you see the separation. Runs feet to stick and wash down opponents as zone blocker. Rips pass punch into opponent with snap. This is where I'm talking about. He's got the advantage of having long arms and can get to the body first. And if that can be coached into him with keeping his hands inside and not reaching and pulling, this man could be easily a starting left tackle. Maintains separation with length and hand resets. He does, but again, his initial grab on the outside may cause him problems. In today's NFL linemen or linebackers or edge rushers can figure that out and will be able to play off of that. Now, above average recovery athleticism. I'd say he can recover well. I do believe. I agree. I think that he's good at reading the defense and adjusting as maybe there is a twist or a stunt or a linebacker coming out of nowhere. I think he can adapt well to that. And that was the strength. I don't think it's as good as the Ed Ingram I evaluated earlier, but I believe that he has those abilities, those traits too. His weaknesses: pad level rises a little tall out of his stance. I could see that. Leans and drops helmet into contact. That potentially could be true. I do not, in the videos that I saw, again, we're looking at highlights, you don't see that much. Lacks crisp, accurate block entry with his hands. Again, I'm going to harp on this. It's his hands. They're just not in the right place to start the block. And unfortunately, that's going to cause him some holding penalties. But I'm talking about swing tackle developing in the future starter. So not a big concern yet. Doesn't bring feet under him, hindering sustained attempts. I didn't see him mowing anybody down. His highlight reel, there's nothing of him just destroying anybody. Needs better play side landmarks on stretch plays. Okay. Punch is stiff but can ride a little too high. I could see that. Again, it's hand placement. Post foot deadens when sliding to inside counters. Again, don't see a lot of failed attempts on a highlight video, so I'll give him that. Whatever they say, need to sit down and find footing to anchor. Yeah, when you saw highlight reels of Darisaw, they showed that how big of an anchor he had and was unmovable. I didn't get to see that with Lowe, but it could be there. But they're saying it's not. It's one of his weaknesses. Struggles to create consistent firmness with with his outside edge. That is amazing by Darisaw. You could see him cut the D tackle off or D end off when he was blocking. Um, Whenever he needed to, he was able to do that reach block where they jump out and then turn and keep the person going as the ball goes outside. That was a very strong suit by Darisaw. That's why he was a first round talent. This you didn't see this him used this way. And I think it might have a lot to do with different types of offense. The Big Ten offense compared to an NFL offense may vary quite a bit, and depending on what he's used, Virginia Tech is I believe, more creative, and having Darisaw pull from left tackle all the way to right tackle on some occasions. I think, I think this is something he could learn, get better at. I The reach he has is amazing. I think he's going to be a good backup at left tackle and right tackle, and we hope that he never sees the field. But it's nice to know that we got a nice pickup in the 6th round. Just to give you an idea, Darisaw has a long list of strengths, but let's look at his weaknesses. Play can match to, and this is him coming into the NFL. Play can much too nonchalant at times. Inexplicably lets opponents off the hook early rather than finishing them. I agree. I'm looking at his college videos right before this, and he wasn't a mauler. He wasn't angry like Ed Ingram, who is their 2nd round pick, is pick people up and throw them down. And you can see that, but Darisaw was more of a get the angle and get the right block, and that's the same as what Cleveland and O'Neal were like coming out of college too. They weren't the maulers. Low hands lead to occasional late punches. Opens outside hip a little early in his pass slides. Allows defenders into his frame more than he should. Again, that's something I don't think Vederian Lowe has as a weakness, and it was listed as Darisaw's weakness. Needs committed power, step inside, protect B gap. Inconsistent working a firm, accurate outside hand. Lazy with hand placement on down blocks. Similar issue, hand placement that they say that Lowe has, that Darisaw had too. Rushes through secure blocks on combos. So I'm comparing him to Darisaw just because it's the most recent pick. It's fresh in our mind. We were so happy with getting Darisaw. Well, there are so many similar traits physically that Vederian Lowe has that Christian Darisaw has. But there is a separation in the fact that Darisaw is a more athletic, and I believe him being able to cut off the defender and hold an anchor is more well established than Vederian Lowe. But the production is there. The trust that he had from freshman to graduation is there, setting the record for most games played by alignment. So everything at Illinois, so everything's there to say that this guy was a great pick in the 6th round, and we should be pretty set for swing tackle if he does what he needs to do. So this is David Shelsky, Minnesota Sports Talk. If you're still with me, go down, click like and subscribe. Keep me on the air. Keep more Minnesota Sports Talk on the interwebs. Not less, more. We need more. That's it. See you next time.